I've got grams on the outside of the spring scale.
Hi, everybody. Carrie here with SnowSchool, and my guest today is John Dewey from Crater Lake National Park. John, thanks so much for being here.
Hi, Carrie. Thanks for having me.
So today, John, we're talking about watersheds, and you're an ideal person to introduce this concept. You live and work in a very unique watershed, and tell us about what you have in mind for today's activity.
Today, I want us to go out and model our watersheds. We all live in watersheds, even though they might look different, and we all experience precipitation, meaning water falling from the sky at some point during the year. So we're just going to see what our local watershed looks like.
That sounds great. How exactly do you envision that we'll create the actual models of the watersheds?
Well, I'm thinking we use a camera and take a photo of the landscape and then draw on top of it. I'm going to use my tablet because it has a camera right built in, and then I also can draw right on the picture. It's going to make it easy. But as long as you can take a photo and draw on it, you'll be just fine. I was thinking about actually going outside right now. It's beautiful, and taking a couple pictures and kind of showing you an example of what I'm thinking.
Sounds great.
Well, I made it outside to the rim of Crater Lake. We got about 1,000-foot cliff to my right, and then we have a nice gradual mountain slope to my left. I'm in between two watersheds here. That's one watershed, and this is another watershed. Now, what I'm gonna have to do at this point to complete the activity is just take a picture that I think represents both high points and low points. I'm gonna take a picture looking right back at this ridge behind me. Now it's a little bright out here to actually draw on my photo outside, so I'll show you that back in the classroom. But first, let's take a few minutes to just enjoy where we are. To model this watershed, I'm going to start off by finding the highest points in the environment. It will be Garfield Peak, pretty obvious. This is Mount Scott way back here. That's another obvious peak. That is the highest point in Crater Lake. This little high rocky area here is called the Eagle Crags. That'll be another high spot. And then over here, this is called Cloud Cap. That's a high spot too. Now I'm going to transition to a screenshot view so you can see more clearly. And I'll continue to explain how I completed my model, and then you can do the same thing back at school or home.
My next step will be to connect the red X's, which will create a ridgeline. And this ridgeline is what separates watersheds. Interestingly, I'm also standing on a ridgeline, the rim of the Crater Lake caldera. So I'm going to draw a second ridgeline into my photo because I took a picture of two separate watersheds. Now I happen to be standing right next to a high point on this ridgeline, so I'm going to add an additional red X. Next I'll select a blue marker and I'll begin drawing snowflakes. I want to draw 5 to 10 snowflakes around the photo anywhere that snow could land. Once I've drawn all my snowflakes, I'm going to begin to draw directional arrows coming from the snowflakes and going towards where snowmelt would run to if the snow melted in these locations. Some of them are very simple. Of course, snow will melt going straight down the face of a mountain. However, some of them are a little trickier. Well, there you have it. I just showed you one way to model watersheds. Now, this was actually pretty fun and easy, and I'm sure that you can go outside and do this right where you are right now. I was able to identify two different watersheds. On the left is the Crater Lake watershed, where water pours down those mountain slopes into that lake. Some of it evaporates away, some disappears into the ground. And then on the right, we have the Klamath River watershed. Now, that water, that snow that's up in those peaks, it's going to melt, and it cannot make its way into Crater Lake because it's on the other side of the ridgeline. But that snow will eventually melt, flow through the Klamath River, past the redwoods, and out into the Pacific Ocean. Pretty awesome, huh?
Thanks for that, John. I've got my camera myself here, and I'm ready to head out and do that activity. And Snow School students, don't forget to fill out the follow-up questions in your Snow School journal once you're done. Thanks, everybody, and have fun.